Hey guys, Jeff Kashat here, the Jeep Realtor. I am on my way to an appointment, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about upcoming project for the 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon Launch Edition that I picked up. I'm going to be working on an audio system. If you guys haven't seen that from any of my previous videos, the little prep work that I did with the Metropods and the JL C5 650s and that type of thing. So some of the stuff came in. I'm a little disappointed that all of it didn't come in, but we have, worldwide we're having delays with COVID-19, so it's expected. So I'll just talk to you real quick about what equipment I'm going to be using, and I'll be breaking this up into different videos. Jeep's going to be a disaster. So I am keeping the factory head unit. I would love to do the Alpine head unit, the Restyle one that they have, but at a retail price of $3,000, that's more than I can justify, spending. I know what you get out of the thing, but going from an 8.4, which is what I have, to a 9, not, size-wise on the screen, it's not that much of a justification. Again, but feature pack-wise, completely it is. But price-wise, just doesn't, work for me right now. Maybe in the future, maybe they'll come out with a new version by the time I'm able to do it with a bigger screen, better features, things like that. But for now, that's not happening. What I am doing at this time, though, is I am going to be using the Pack Audio Amp Pro. And that will, it's a T-harness basically set up that has a module that allows me to have either RCA front, rear, and sub pre-outs that I can use to go to the amp, or you also have the option to get a little adapter that allows you to have Toslink fiber optic connection to send clean signal right to the amps that way. I'm actually going to send both RCAs and Toslink to my amplifiers. Now, that being said, I know that when you use Toslink, you lose front and rear fader. With the RCAs, that you can retain that. So the amps that I'm gonna get, well, I have, they're in the garage. I picked up the JL Audio VX series, VX or VLX, the new ones with the built-in processors in them. I picked up the 8-channel, which I believe is the VX 800/8i, and then I also picked up the 600-watt mono version, which I believe is called the VX 600/1i. For the 8-channel, I am going to be using that actively to power my interior speakers. For the front, I'm currently going to be running JL Audio, as I mentioned, JL Audio C5 650 components with the, I believe it's a 1-inch tweeter and a true 6.5-inch, mid-range. They might make a 3.5-inch mid as well. I'll have to double check that. If they do, maybe I'll consider changing the setup a little later, and I'll talk about that. For the rear, I am using I have the factory soundbar. I'd like to get the Alpine, kit, but it's not out yet. It has a 6.5-inch woofer and a tweeter, and it has a really nice trim piece with a grill. So it has it matches their Restyle dash radio very good, as well as just integrates very well with the dash. But that's like $400, and I don't even care about the speakers, to be honest. I wish they just sold the kit, the install kit, and you can use your own speakers. But I get it. Alpine makes speakers. They want you to buy their speakers, and that's fine. So I ended up finding and purchasing, I think I already showed it in a video before, the SSV Works adapter kit, which allows you to put a 6.5-inch speaker and optional separate tweeter in the factory speaker locations of the soundbar. So I have that, and I'm going to be using for the soundbar, again, active, the JL Audio C3 650s. And the reason that I went with the C3 650s in this case is I didn't feel it was as necessary to have the higher quality C5s in the back, as well as I like the option that the C3 650s give you, that you can actually mount them as a component set, or that you can mount the tweeter within the woofer, the mid-range, as a coaxial setup. So I haven't quite decided yet, if I'm going to mount, which way I'm going to mount it. Part of me likes the idea of just, having the coax set up, and I only have to make one hole and worry about one mounting and, that type of thing. But, part of me wonders if it'll interfere with the sound of the mid-range, that I should just do it separately. So my plan, like I mentioned with the amplifier, is that I am going to run full active. I'm going to have, a pair of channels going to the front tweeters in the dash, a pair of channels going to the dash woofers that are in those Metra pods, and I'm going to have a pair of channels, from the amplifier. I'm talking about the 8-channel amplifier with everything right now, to the tweeters of the C3s, and then the last pair of channels going to the woofers from the C3 setup in the soundbar. Now, if JL does make a 3.5 inch or 4 inch or 3 inch mid-range mid that I can put into the dash, then I may go 3-way active up front, and with the tweeter, the mid, and the mid-range, and use 6 channels for that just up front, fully active of course, and then only use 2 channels for the soundbar C3 650s, and hide the JL C3 650 crossovers in the soundbar. Now, with regards to the JL Audio 600 watt, VX amp, that is going to be powering. Super excited to get this. I was so stoked when I saw that this was introduced. I can't wait to get it. Unfortunately, it wasn't an item that came in with everything that I'm waiting on. I am doing the JL Audio Stealth Box for the 2020 and up Gladiator, and it fits right under the back seats. It looks perfect. You wouldn't expect anything less from JL Audio, especially with their stealth boxes. In my experience, they're all awesome. That's going to fit right under the seat. In my case, with the Launch Edition, I do have that storage cubby under the seat, so I will, of course, have to lose that, which, it's bittersweet because, the Gladiator is a great vehicle. I love it, but there's just not a lot of storage space inside this thing. I'm not talking about in the bed. The bed's, good, but inside the actual vehicle. So that's going to limit me to what's basically behind the seats for storage, behind the back seats. The amps will both be mounted under each front seat, front driver, front passenger, and I'm going to mount those with the JL Audio brackets. I don't know part numbers right now, I'm driving and stuff like that, but they make a bracket that basically goes under each seat. It's the same part number. You can put under the driver's seat or under the passenger seat, or both, depending on if you're using 1 or 2 amps. And it allows you to mount various JL Audio amplifiers directly to it. And it's a clean setup, and it's something similar to what I did in my JKs. They didn't have those brackets at the time. There were other companies, but that's pretty cool. So the amps are going to be hidden under the seats. The subwoofer is going to be under the seat, and you're really not going to see anything. I was originally going to run 1 amp kit, a 2 gauge or 1 aught kit, from the battery to the amps with the distribution block, but I've decided that I also got the JL Audio under hood fuse bracket, so it has 2 spots to mount 2 fuse holders. So more power is always good. So I've decided that I'm going to do 2 gauge amp kits from JL Audio. It's a pretty complete kit, and that's going to 1 to each amp. So I'm going to basically mount it and route it across the firewall from under the hood, find a place to bring it inside, and then run it into the vehicle down the driver's side, because I believe all the signal runs up the passenger side, to try and keep everything separated. And then I'll figure out, once I rip the carpet up and start doing sound deadening and stuff like that, where exactly is the best way to route the 2 gauge. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere under the seat, but not too close to, get in the way of any of the wiring to, cause any kind of signal issues. I'm also using the JL Audio Premium Twisted Pair RCAs. I pretty much did JL Audio with everything. I had, some Stinger product, I believe, at home. No, it wasn't Stinger. I don't remember what it was. Other RCAs, high-end RCAs. but I just decided to get all new, get all Stinger. I was going to run 12 gauge to every single speaker in the vehicle, but I think that's a little overkill, and I just, so I think I'm going to go to 16 gauge for all the interiors, the 8 speakers that I was talking about, and just do 12 gauge going from the sub amp to the stealth box. I also did pick up, well, it hasn't arrived yet, but I picked up it is like a network Ethernet hub for the VX series amps. It doesn't require separate power, it just powers up, from the amps. And what that's going to allow me to do is to have the Bluetooth adapter connected to the amps. So when I am using I believe they call it the Tune It setup, I can tune it right from my iPad instead of having to have my laptop, connected through a, USB, and that should clean things up. I also have their DRC 205, which it's more than a bass knob. We'll just say it like that. That's going to replace the 12 volts, cigarette lighter plug. I thought about getting the trailer kits, the trailer brake kit that Mopar makes, and putting it there, but really I don't tow that much, so it's kind of unnecessary. So that's going to be where the DRC 205 is going to go. I think that'll be a great spot for it. Very convenient, just below the volume knob, right in the dash. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what's going on, what's to come from the channel. I'm new to this. There's going to be a lot more content coming up as I go on. I expect to be, better, more comfortable in front of the camera. Maybe I'll get to the point where I have, the time and learn how to do some photo editing. But I wanted it to be just, real and raw and honest for you guys, and let you guys see what I'm going through. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please consider subscribing. If you guys do have questions specifically, about the build or about the Jeep or whatever, or about real estate, I am a realtor in Michigan, and I love helping people. Give me consider reaching out to me. Send me a comment. Send me a private message. Whatever the case is, I'm here for you. Thank you so much, Jeff Kashat, the Jeep Realtor. Have a great day. More to come. Peace.